Hi everyone, welcome to another one of my videos about fibromyalgia and specific aspects of our illness, secondary effects, etc., that perhaps not many people know about, and that includes people within the fibromyalgia and chronic illness community and outside of it. Well, today I wanted to talk about fibromyalgia and skin problems, and this is something that I think a lot of people take for granted, but that actually affects the vast majority of patients with fibromyalgia, at least that I know, and from at least the research, the academic research that I've been looking into suggests the same. So let's start with the basics. Why does our skin, as people with fibromyalgia, suffer quite badly? Well, if you think about it, fibromyalgia is a neurological condition. Everything that happens in our illness has to do with our brain chemistry. And I think we forget that our skin is quite literally the largest organ in our body and an important part on that neurological transmission. Everything that we do mostly throughout the day revolves us interacting with something: the wind, the sun, air, rain. You grab things, you touch things, things touch you, they brush onto you, pollen, dust, whatever you want. You have a shower, you're cooking, everything ends up actually engaging with you. Talking to somebody, hugging something, organizing things. You end up touching a lot of things, and a lot more things touch your skin, your clothes, for example, than you give yourself credit for. And as a result, your skin is constantly sending information to your brain about the stuff that's happening. That's the reason why I know that my hair is constantly in my way. Not because I can see it here on the video, but because I can feel it there rubbing, and it's actually quite bothering me right now. So, as a result, within the potential wrong that biochemistry can cause to us, the skin plays a great part. And as a result, skin has a tendency of being oversensitive. Remember that in fibromyalgia, and I have a video actually in the channel about oversensitivity or overload regarding our senses, we get this because the brain sometimes doesn't entirely know what kind of message it needs to send, or it becomes completely overwhelmed, and the message that it's sending, it's all completely haywire. So as a result, because this is the largest organ that is constantly sending information or receiving information that way, it's very likely that you will end up some kind of skin problem. What do I mean with skin problem? Well, a lot of people with fibromyalgia have eczema. For example, different kinds of eczema. There are so many types of eczema. The one that I get is called Pomphylux eczema, and it doesn't just create like a tingle or a rash. It actually creates little bulbs around my skin, which almost look like mosquito bites. In my particular case, I get eczema in my hands and sometimes on the toes, particularly on my big toe, which is a real pain because that means that my skin becomes 3 times more overreactive. They hurt in the same way that a mosquito bite would hurt if it's particularly bad. It, of course, itches all the time. And sometimes, depending on where it grows, and because it grows in my hands quite often, it has a tendency of growing where my joints are. It limits my mobility. So I constantly am applying hand cream onto my hands to attempt to make my skin less sensitive, better moisturized, and as a result trying to minimize that oversensitivity, the appearance of the eczema, and the chances of my hands being more operational. This is something that affects me particularly. Sometimes I get random rashes, or what we call the result of sort of contact dermatitis from clothes. I need to be quite careful with things like seams and stuff like that because, again, my skin is quite dry. I don't know if that's exactly just the fibromyalgia or just my skin. I have been known for having quite dry skin even before I was diagnosed with fibro, so it could just be a general circumstance that I had already that has been aggravated by the fibromyalgia. But contact dermatitis is also very common in people that have fibromyalgia, as are any other kinds of dermatitis. So skin infections, skin rashes, stuff like that, very, very common, again, because, all of these interactions are gonna cause friction, are gonna cause potential little bacteria getting, stuck somewhere, etc. Then you can develop, further things that are actually a lot more serious. And I don't have any experience of those, but I can vouch for them because I've seen people developing them. It's the same reason why, for example, we bruise so easily, or our skin is seem to be so thin. If you have fibromyalgia and you find yourself always getting like scratched by your shoes, for example, at the back and the heels, or you buy, I don't know, something and it seems to cut into you, it's the same reason. The way we appreciate pressure or the way we feel these things is not always entirely 100%. So that's the reason why we're gonna be a bit more prone to those things. And the same with bruising. Bruising is not just because of the quality of our skin, it also has to do with our, well, general ability to keep our blood flow going properly. People with fibromyalgia normally have poor circulation, or at least located areas where the blood flow may not be as good as it should, again because the brain is not always sending the right amount of information to keep the stream properly. So it all has to do with, once again, the neurochemistry on your brain, but the fact that we tend to take this for granted. So what things can you do to make sure that your fibro and your skin by proxy, or the other way around, depending on, where or how you want to treat it, are at the best of their abilities? Honestly, keep hydrated. I generally cannot say this enough. I'm super, super bad at being hydrated myself. But it's super important. And please don't just drink water. You need to include electrolytes, because it is the electrolytes and the minerals that come in other different bits and bobs like your drink or your food that actually help your neurochemistry and that bring back more than just hydration onto your skin. Our skin doesn't just need hydration, again, like an organ. It requires all sorts of minerals and nutrients to actually be in good condition. That's the reason why things like the beauty industry are constantly talking about stuff like collagen, magnesium, vitamin C, etc., etc. Of course, because they make money from it, but from the point of view of science, it is true. All of these things actually help having better skin. What kind of things can you drink that are good for your skin? And that obviously, and I always say this, you're gonna have to keep in mind how they may affect other trigger points of your fibromyalgia. Orange juice, if you can tolerate it, is very good because it has, well, a ton of vitamins, and it's also very nutritious, so that's good. If you have an adjacent illness, like for example diabetes, that may stop you from having some of these drinks, obviously keep that in mind. But orange juice or any other kind of juices or alternative drinks that you can intake that improve that, it really helps. Stay away from carbonated drinks, because the carbonated aspect of it may trigger other issues of fibromyalgia, particularly if you suffer from IBS. But actually, a lot of the time, the carbonated element that goes into drinks actually stops us from being able to absorb nutrients well. This is a known problem, for example, with Coca-Cola or things like that, and calcium. It can have a bad effect, particularly if you drink it regularly. I'm not saying never drink Coca-Cola in your life, or any kind of carbonated drink, or if you drink sparkling water. What I'm saying is you need to be careful so that the rest of your body doesn't end up being damaged in order to keep your skin healthy. There is such a thing as a balance to the force, and I know it is very hard when you have a chronic illness to keep everything, in motion, but it's important to keep these things in mind. Other things that have good electrolytes and that you should really be drinking if you can, and if you have fibromyalgia, are things like coconut water. Coconut water is incredibly beneficial because it's super hydrating, it's super refreshing, and it's full of minerals. The same with aloe vera water. It's actually pretty good for you. I appreciate that these kind of drinks tend to be a bit more expensive, but if you can afford them, even if it's once in a while, I think you will really notice the benefits in there. And if not, something that is actually really helpful is things like sports drinks. Because when you go to the gym or when you're doing exercise, you have a tendency of sweating more and needing more hydration because you're burning so much and you're pushing your body. Well, we're doing that accidentally anyway, guys. So we might as well make use of it. One that I'm particularly fond of is Powerade. There are some Powerades that have more sugar than anything else. But Gatorade is good as well, and Aquarius, for example. Aquarius, out of all of them, is perhaps the one that is a bit more accessible from a price point, at least in Europe. In the UK, Gatorade is the one that we have more easily available. What I cannot emphasize enough is please stay away from energy drinks. They will not hydrate you. They will often actually lead you in the opposite direction because of the way that they're going to make you be constantly in tension, and that's going to eventually make you sweat more. And in general, they're just loaded with rubbish. So please, please, please stay away from energy drinks. And if you cannot find any of this, there is a good trick that you can do at home that is very easy. In most pharmacies or drugstores, you can go and get literally electrolyte tablets. So you can just grab a glass of water, throw one of those, and just drink that. Another alternative that you can do at home very easily is just grabbing normal water. And if you have one of those bottles that has a filter, even if it's like the thermos filter that you can put in things to like make tea or stuff like that, you can put in there things like lemon or strawberries, anything like that, lime. And that little is not necessarily the juice, or it is, but it's so diluted that you will still be mostly drinking water, but it will not just be liquid to cleanse. It will actually be bringing back things into your body. So this is one of those things. Again, a lot of people say, well, what about tea, what about coffee? Well, normally tea and coffee are not actually hydrating you because of the caffeine, kind of like with energy drinks. Yes, of course they offer some hydration, but the impact that they're going to be having in your body chemistry at the end of the day, it's kind of going to counter that. If you want to be hydrated, you shouldn't be drinking tea or coffee. This is not the way it works. And more importantly, because of neurochemistry being a problem, tea and coffee can have other detrimental problems to your overall health, which as someone with fibromyalgia you should be aware of. And of course, don't use alcohol to stay hydrated. Is another well-known cause of dehydration. That's the reason why you get hangovers. So, and just like with the caffeine, the effect of alcohol in neurochemistry is the same. It's incredibly damaging. So, drink plenty of water, but also find things that are not just water to keep that goodness in your body, not just for the sake of your brain, but also for the sake of your skin. And this is particularly important if you live in countries where it gets really hot, or if you are suffering from extreme weather conditions, because of course in the heat we all have that problem. So just look around. And the other thing that cannot happen quite often is in the opposite, in extreme cold. I know it seems silly, but if you think about it, when you're out and about and it's super cold, again, the wind and the cold can really affect your skin, and you can end up with the same problem, really serious skin problems due to extreme weather. So look out for things like that, because it will be really useful. And there is something else that I would like to show you just now that will really help you, not just to fight the heat, but to keep your skin in good condition. I'll be right back with this. Okay, so here I am. I don't know if you're aware of this, but this is a hydrating mist, a water mist. Now, these were originally designed for a bunch of other skin conditions. I learned about it because of rosacea, which is a kind of skin condition that can appear in your face, and acne. When these things happen, your skin can become really, really, really sort of red, and it can induce hot flashes, and you can become overwhelmed. Well, these cooling mists have also now become really popular because of the extreme weather conditions. And if you're paying close attention to the ingredients at the back, this is not just, this one is probably easier to read. This is not just, although the sun is probably gonna avoid us from reading. But as you can see, this is not just water. It has more things in there. This one has aqua, 2-bromo, 2-nitropropane, 1.3 diol, and nitrogen. So this is not just like splashing water onto your face, which is useful. Again, this is helping you rehydrate by including other aspects of chemistry into your body. The other one that I have from this one, the one from Aven, has Aven thermal spring water, which is Avena aqua, so it's like a particular branded thing, and just nitrogen. So a similar formula, different stuff. If you are in the UK, this is currently cheaper, Aquasena. You can find it in Savers and in sort of reduced stores like this. But Aven is a very well-known brand. It's not that expensive. This is the sort of middle-sized can, and I think you can buy it for something like £4.99. It's a good investment. I do use it a lot for work, particularly in the heat, because I'm walking about, out and about a lot. But honestly, sometimes at home, I'm feeling it. I'm like, ugh, my skin is awful. Psh, 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 and you're good. And again, this is not sponsored. This is literally just something that I have learned over experimenting on myself. I have these two in the same way that I could have another. If I was particularly fighting for one brand or the another, I wouldn't be showing you both, and I wouldn't be telling you where to get the best price. But these things matter. So again, anything else that you may be able to do, like treat yourself to potentially spas, face masks, hydrating, body butters, stuff like that. Really look into what it would be beneficial for your skin, other than staying very well hydrated. I have gone through many, many different moisturizers. Moisturizer is super important when you have a chronic illness like fibromyalgia and you suffer from skin problems. I have changed my shampoo and my gel and even hand soap to ensure that I only buy ones that don't actually destroy my skin. You may have similar problem to mine. Whenever I use something to clean the house, like even if it's soap or washing up liquid or something like that, after I rinse this, my skin, particularly my hands, just go kind of like, it's not the wrinkles, it's the feeling of, ugh, this is entirely dry, I can't use this. As a result, I was constantly looking for things that would not make me feel that way. I used to notice that depending what kind of soap I would use, I would come out of the shower and it kind of felt like I was about to peel off, which was gross. And it turns out that, again, depending on the chemistry that is applied to certain, hygiene produce, this can affect the general condition of our skin. So if you have fibromyalgia and skin problems, I really, really recommend you have a good look at brands such as Simple, the Sanex, Sensitive or Natural brands, and the same with Dove. Those are three brands that are quite wide available throughout the UK, Europe, and the US. They are normally easily available in supermarkets, so it's not like you need to go to a specialist store. And they have created ranges for sensitive skins. So whenever you go shopping for things like this, or whenever you're gonna do some kind of skin treatment and your ordinary hygiene is actually skin treatment, just consider and accept that you count as if you have sensitive skin or super dry skin or something like that, and act accordingly. And over time, because it's not something that's gonna happen like that, but over time you will see that your skin health will really, really improve. And actually, as I speak like that, it's the same about your scalp. Don't forget that when you're washing your hair, you're not just washing hair, but here too. And just like with hair quality, the scalp sometimes suffers from our bad habits, and sometimes it's not well hydrated. That's why you may have problems with like dandruff, or you may have the opposite problem and you may have very greasy hair. Again, look into these things and take them seriously, and you will see how little by little, it may not be perfect and you may never really get rid of the problem, but things will improve. And that's all for today. So I really, really hope that things improve for you. Oh, and a classic, baby oil. Again, anything that is designed for babies, if it's good enough for their skin, which is just, precious and new, is good enough for yours. That's what I'm saying. I don't care anymore. I just go and buy the stuff that I need. I live on baby wipes, which are actually really good as well for getting rid of like things like makeup or just day-to-day potential, dirt from walking around the street. I don't care. I just do it. So just take some time to actually learn your skin. Take some time to do some changes, see what may work best for you, and stay super well hydrated. And hopefully the fibromyalgia and your skin problems will find some kind of balance. Anyway, that's all for today. I hope that helps, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.